Hey, it's Ray from Tails&Snails Aquatics. I just want to give an update on our fish room, show you guys how things are going, what's going well, what's not going so well, how our stock's coming along, and how our build-out's coming along. So as you guys know, we're a very small startup. We're trying to keep things natural, real, trying not to do the big bin fish farming approach to our breeding, so thus things are obviously come along a little slower, but you live, you learn. So let's give you guys an update on how things are going here. Alright, so this tank here is our guppy and blue snail tank. So things are actually these fish are actually breeding. It's kind of a slow rate. I've been trying different approaches, trying to do a natural cover for the babies. The breeding is generally not the problem so far. It's generally the babies get eaten up. So I'm going to try to continue to do a natural approach. We do have some guppy grass that's slowly but surely growing out. Got some cholla logs on there, so I do want to get some shrimp in this tank, not for the purpose of breeding, but just because I think it's cool. I'm going to flip the light here, it's kind of reduce some of that glare on the camera here. So we actually originally started with probably around 15 guppies, and I haven't dared to count them yet, but we're probably coming up in the range of 100 or so between all the tanks. Our blues, some caramels did sneak in there, so there are some other caramel snails mixed in with the blues. As you can see, just doing their snail business. I generally feed these guys at night. I'll throw in the collard greens, and I'll throw in the zucchini. So I do a mix. Zucchini doesn't have enough calcium in it, so the collard greens would be the mainstay, with the zucchini kind of being a treat. Alright, down to our second tank here. So our blue deltas are slowly but surely breeding. So this is our only, at the time, at least as the time of this filming, our only quote-unquote purebred guppies that we have. And then our ivory snails, which are actually, they are breeding, not to the numbers that we need to actually sell them, but you got to start somewhere. So you guys do see there's lots of little babies in there. And believe it or not, hidden in here somewhere, we've about 12 ghost shrimp. I put these guys in here to do cleanup duty, because I do not want to, it's a little, you can see there's a lot of plants in there, so it's, every time I do a gravel vac, I have to replant quite a bit of the plants. So baby ivory's on the way. You can see there's actually some baby purples in here too, and some very light, almost magenta pink babies in there. There is a ghost shrimp. You can see he's very transparent, kind of doing his ghost shrimp business. I can zoom in on this purple guy. Wow, look at that guy! Fantastic. Much lighter than our other purples. Much lighter. More shrimp. The ivory snails. I just love these guys. And these are adults, in case you guys are wondering. They're not quite golf ball size yet, but they're getting there. Alright, on to our next tank. So these guys have been quite busy. What's interesting in this tank is there's not really a lot of cover. They're having babies, and these guys don't have a particular taste for eating their babies. So it's kind of interesting that for whatever reason they seem to leave the babies alone, and we get some hatches. I had some lithium that wasn't doing so well, so I put that guy in there trying to get him to perk up a little bit. We do have a couple of yellow snails, or I'm sorry, yellow shrimp in here. They're kind of elusive. I don't really see them. Got some lazy guys who like to hang out on the sponge filter. I think this is hilarious. I mean, like they just kind of take a break. Like, I'm done swimming. I'm going to take a break from swimming. And they're all eager and happy. They think I'm going to feed them. Beautiful orange tails. I love these orange tails. Alright, coming down. Also see lots and lots of duckweed. Lots and lots of snail eggs. So things are going well in here. And actually, we went on a hiatus from shipping any snails or fish or plants or anything over the holidays. We're just too busy. It's just too cold. And we were actually had sold out of all of our purple snails here. So this tank, I actually went and I cleared it of all the, trying to get a good angle so there's not so much glare. I actually cleared it of all the adult guppies. So this was essentially just fry tank. As you can see, all the guppies that are left in here, they're still quite small. And this tank, I'm actually going to try to do some shrimp breeding in here alongside the purple snails. Little guppy, orangish red tail, colored up nicely. Sometimes the color doesn't pop on them until they kind of reach adulthood. Others, this guy's teeny tiny. He's already got a beautiful tail, beautiful colors coming on. Our lone cherry shrimp at the moment. Right now he's feeling good. He's king of the castle. He's got the whole place to himself. At one point in time he was sharing the tank with adult guppies and ghost shrimp. Now you can see behaviorally he goes, and I never used to see him. Now that we're all small fry and little fish and snails, this guy thinks he's king of the castle. He roams around, he's out. He doesn't hide all the time. So the adult guppies will certainly send your shrimp into hiding. And obviously, any baby shrimp, those are going to be some tasty treats for them. So we're finally back in stock with purple snails. So that's taken about a month to really get our stock back up. So there's beautiful purple here. Let's see if I can spy some babies here. Another one. Again, this tank is, you gotta gravel vac with caution because you're always sucking them up. And we got some ivories in there. Look at that. Of which either he tank jumped or he came out of one of these hatches. Yeah, I love this tank. Again, and I think I mentioned this in the other video, the coral, so they get collard greens, they get, obviously they eat the algae that's growing in here. Give them the zucchini. The crushed coral is also a contributor to their shells, and you can look at how healthy and thick this guy's shell is. And the harder water you have, the better for snails. Lots of babies. I can zoom in and pan around, see if I can spot some newborns. Oh, there's one. See how small they are? Oh, we went out of focus. There's another one. And the mommy and the daddy. One of them. And we also have them up here hanging out at the top. They do like to munch on the duckweed. So you see a lot of snails that are suspended up here. And they do eat the duckweed, little baby guppies, and swimming around. It's funny to watch them. Sometimes they'll play with them. They'll nip on their little antennas, annoy them. Mr. Shrimp. Okay. Next tank. So we planted this one a couple weeks ago. Took a pretty large batch of Java moss. Actually, this is the Christmas moss in here. I moved a couple snails over. Primarily a lot of guppies going on. The snails actually have been mating. I haven't seen any eggs yet. And this is also our tank. It's full of a lot of the orange tails and some yellow tails. So we're obviously making efforts to breed these as well. Some really great looking mystery snails in this tank. And if you guys do notice, they do darken up as they grow, as they become adults, and having that proper diet. Obviously, they're still going to clean your tank, but having the diet of they're opportunistic scavengers, so they'll eat the algae, they'll eat the fish poop. They'll eat pretty much, leftover fish food. I've had them. My larger tank, we used to feed the Cory cats those little tablet, those little Cory wafers, and these guys would sometimes get on those Cory wafers and take them away from the fish. So it's kind of hilarious. At one point in time, we had a mono. The Amano shrimp, the Cory, and the one of the snails trying to fight over a Cory wafer. That's our one of our males. Beautiful coloring. It's like a flame from a neon. So my intention is to have lots and lots of babies that look like this guy. Our own mutt, our own muppy. Alright, moving over. Oh, we're still sitting on the ground here. So this tank, Lots of pregnant females. Lots of hornwort I'm trying to grow out in here. So hornwort provides excellent cover once it's thick enough for the babies. The guppies do love swimming among the hornwort. Add it to any tank and it's like poof, it's like a magnet. They're instantly in the hornwort. In this tank we're actually, I've got the orange snails, which are, some of them are actually quite stunning, you know, and, you know, we're using the, you know, the sunset to sundown, you know, the follow the sun LED lights. And it's amazing, these snails in different lighting, you know, so I think like the blues and the yellows, the night lighting just brings out fantastic coloring. But the yellows here, I think they look good day or night. And again, you know, so we're selling these as well. At the moment, I don't really have any. I'd have to go around searching. I don't know if I have any babies in stock, but these guys were all put in here. There's some really big adults. These guys like to bury themselves during the day. They are most active at night, so there's a large group of them that have buried themselves under the moss here. What are you guys doing? Feed us! Feed us! Oh, pregnant female there. You got a lot of babies. Our males. Everybody's eager. I think I'm going to feed them. So I'm trying to keep the blues in this tank and the oranges and yellows in the other tank. You can see a few slip by. So I have to go through, like, you belong in the other tank. But half the fun with these guys is mixing them up, seeing what's going to happen, you know, kind of creating your own breed. Alright, moving up. So we just built this one last weekend. Right now there's nothing in it. You can see the water's got that tea color, and that's from the from our driftwood there. So if it's your first time you're doing a build, doing escape, and you use driftwood and your water looks like this, do not fret. That's because of the tannins that are in the driftwood. So they're going to continue to produce the tannins. And actually, a lot of times you'll see like this slimy, kind of this mucus develop on the driftwood, and that's part of the process as well. Guppies, shrimp, snails will eat that like it's, you know, like it's the best thing they've ever had. So, so this is only a week old. The film really hasn't started yet on the driftwood yet. Storing a couple plants in here, so the other ones we're going to keep. I haven't put any CO2 on this yet, but I've got a few more of the do-it-yourself CO2 kits, and we're probably going to get some CO2 going on this tank. Next tank here, so this is one of our holding tanks for the plants we're selling. It's just a 10 gallon. I get the CO2 on it, which it's not running at current. So we got the do-it-yourself CO2 kit, which we have citric acid in the one side and the water and baking soda in the other. You mix them together, and you squeeze this one, and it mixes with the baking soda and creates a reaction. Then it pressurizes, and then you can feed that up, I've got the hoses in the back. I've got a bubbler here, and then our CO2 diffuser in the tank. So these tanks, I've got two of them, one down here. I've got the lights out, the other one's up here. I do water changes every other day on these, 100%. So we also put plant fertilizer in that, so we're doing our best to keep these in tip-top shape until our customers actually buy them. Alright, so kind of spinning around here. So our 30-gallon, which is funny, I have a kind of a love for the old school 30 gallons here. This was one of the first tanks, not this tank, but a 30 gallon is one of the first tanks I ever had. And the snails have cleaned this up very well. They're still doing their business in there. We've got a couple fish in there. I've got a angel that's down on the corner sulking. I had to separate the angels because the mating pair where they were fighting and they were just about killing each other. So rather than let the angels kill each other, we separated and brought them one of the ones down here. This still happened to be the biggest of our angels, and he or she has been sulking. So we're going to have to reconfigure the tanks upstairs, figure out what we can do to reintroduce them, and hopefully I don't want my fish killing each other, so it's always nice to have a kind of a tank just laying around. No future plans for this tank yet. We've got a big giant mess over here in the corner which I got to clear out, and I want to continue to build out the fish room. I want to do two 40 gallons stacked, and then eventually this wall will also be a wall of 10 gallons, and the 30 gallon here will probably be put out into the other part of the house somewhere. Alright, so that is the tour and update of the fish room. Yeah, flip this around. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the feedback and support. Any questions you have, feel free to reach out. So again, I'm Ray at Tails and Snails Aquatics, and you can check us out at tailsandsnailsaquatics.com. Bye guys.